What's up, YouTube? It's Vamp back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. As you can see, guys, we got my Mithrala soloing the Queen of Hearts in the event dungeon. I cannot take credit for this being an original idea, and this is not stage 30, but in this video, I'm going to break down my team and hopefully give you guys a little inspiration if you're struggling, because guys, Pinpoint is some good gear. You want to get as many Pinpoint accessories and artifacts as you can before this event ends, and even after the Titan event's done, this event dungeon is going to go on for a couple more weeks. So if you don't have a team, watch this video, see if you can get something going. You definitely want to farm this dungeon. Welcome to the video, guys. Thank you for being here. Let's get right into talking about this magnificent Queen of Hearts boss in the event dungeon and why you should farm it. Okay, some of you are going to know, but for those who don't, let's start with that. Why should you farm this dungeon? Well, if you look at the left, you're going to farm for artifacts, and you can get critical rate set, accuracy, curing days, and crit damage sets, and pinpoint sets. Now, pinpoint is the only one we care about here. The others, mediocre to bad, farmable 24/7, outside of events in regular dungeons, and probably you don't really want to be farming any of them anytime anyway. So pinpoint's what we care about, and you have a pretty decent drop rate. I hate that you can be at a high stage and get a 5-star rare piece, but at least it doesn't allow you to get 4 stars, at least from 25 on. Can you ever get 4? Yeah, so you can get 4 stars at 19. From 20 up, you're getting 5 and 6 stars, so definitely try to hit 20. I did not want to / maybe am not able to get my seer quite powerful enough for this specific strategy I'm going to show you to farm 30 reliably, so I didn't want to worry with failed attacks, so I'm farming 28. I think that's pretty close, and honestly, for me and my account, I'm perfectly okay with that. Let's get into what the set does, and then follow that immediately with what my team does. Now, this team is nothing particularly special. I did boost the speed on a couple champions. I raised some champions' accuracy or whatnot, but I mostly left the champions the way that they were for just my day-to-day usage on the account. Okay, so this is not some crazy cracked out team, nor is it some super unique, cheesy, free-to-play team. This is just me taking champions that I had, looking at the mechanics I needed to try to work for this boss, and doing something, quite honestly, as conveniently and lazily as I could. So let's get into the set first. I'm going to cut to the artifact locker thing because you can't get it to leave this description up, and I want to talk to you all about this for 1 sec. All right, here we are. So as you can see, I had 0 pinpoint. I believe actually literally 0 pieces of pinpoint after taking a long break from the game, starting before pinpoint even existed. And so all the pieces I've gotten are from raiding the dungeon, and unfortunately, as you can see, there have not been a lot. All of these haven't even been gone through. As you can see, all the little red dots for new pieces, but there have been a lot of pieces that have had to be trashed because they were in fact garbage. So hopefully I can get a few really nice pieces, but that's just kind of how the event dungeons work. I will say that I'm fairly happy with the fact that there's 6 sets, and it actually drops a decent amount of pinpoint. So I'm okay so far. It could be better, but I'm okay with the drop rates for the pinpoint set. I would kind of hate if it was super rare because of the fact that that's the only damn reason that I'm farming this dungeon to begin with. So anyway, let's talk about what this set does and why it's good. If you look here, it is what's known as a variable set, meaning it can start with as low as 1 piece, which I know that's kind of weird if you're literal like me to call 1 piece a set, but it does count, and it gives you 20 accuracy. Now, it goes all the way up, adding a piece at a time until you get to 9 pieces, which obviously, if you know the game and look over here, you got 6 artifacts, 3 accessories for a total of 9. So it can be a full pinpoint build if you're able to do that. But the cool thing about variable sets, which is pretty obvious, but I'll just mention it briefly, is that you don't have to have 6 or 9 pieces to make a set. You don't even have to have 4, okay? You can literally have as little as 1. So very self-explanatory, but if you look here, you get accuracy, add a piece, get speed, add a piece, get accuracy, speed, accuracy, speed. Then the 9th piece gives you 4 intercept stacks at the start of a round. Each intercept stack blocks a single attempt at placing a crowd control debuff. So that 9 piece is kind of nice. I would almost say that's like pretty strong. I haven't been able to take advantage on my account of intercept stacks, but they seem like they're pretty strong, and giving 4 intercept stacks at the start of a round for PvP seems really strong. So basically, it's going to be for people who need speed, and even more especially people who need speed who are debuffers or offer crowd control or mechanics that need accuracy to manipulate the other team. Most mechanics in the game that manipulate the other team need accuracy. So this set is fantastic for that. It's fantastic for people who need just speed, and it's fantastic for people who need speed and accuracy. So at 4 pieces, I will note that you get 1 intercept stack. Then at 6 pieces, you get 2. And then at 9, you get the full 4. But as you're going up, 1 through 3, then 5, then 7 and 8, you're adding accuracy and speed. Back to the event dungeon, and I will show you my team. As I mentioned before, just say it again real quick. The reason I'm doing 28 is just because it's safer. You could easily make this seer in this team, or whoever your damage dealer nuker is for the ads, stronger, and do it on 30. The mechanics that I'm going to describe here will absolutely work. What happened for me was that I was not quite nuking down the side ads on 30, and when I didn't, it was random who kind of survived, and that was throwing off, you know, feeding right into the solo with just Mithrala and the boss. So I just was like, nope, not looking for a bunch of fails, not even looking for like a 15% fail rate, to be honest with you. I'll do 28. It can't be that much worse of a drop chance for good artifacts, whatever. So that's what I'm doing. Basically, starting with the auras, Mithrala's aura is just the best one. Lydia's is for arena, Arbiter's is for arena, Yakarl's is attack, which just doesn't make a difference at all in this. And then I don't remember if hers is all battles. I think it is, but it's resist, and we don't need resist right now. What we need is accuracy, because we need to make sure Lydia doesn't get resisted, and we need to make sure that Mithrala has enough accuracy added so that she resists. Now, mine has enough accuracy probably in her build, but again, given that the accuracy converts from Mithrala because of her passive into resistance, it just makes more sense because she has a better accuracy aura than Seer has resist aura, and the accuracy, shocker, functions as accuracy. So Mithrala is an awesome, awesome champion. I'm sure any of you have her know that. I'm sure some of you who don't yet have her know that. But given that she's a champion that needs accuracy and has a passive that converts accuracy into resistance, oh my god, accuracy auras are amazing for her, and hers is good. All battles, 80 accuracy, very nice accuracy aura. Now, going over the skill presets, it is important if you're going to run it on auto. What I figured out with my team was that it was better for Arbiter to do the Destiny's Call 20% turn meter fill right at the beginning, because what was happening was when she did Mentor of Heroes, which is a 30% plus a buff, then when Lydia does her decreased defense and weaken, Lydia does a double buff, and then the boss immediately procs a turn where she rips all your buffs off. So what was happening is we were losing 3 buffs per person. Now, if you don't know this, Seer uses buffs combined with an enemy max HP multiplier to nuke down the enemies. So basically we were giving up Arbiter's buff for free, because once Lydia went, the boss needs 2 buffs per person to proc an extra turn and rip the buffs off. We were giving her 3 per person, but then what that means is that since she rips them all off, we're just losing one, right? So if we wait and let Arbiter do this turn meter boost, which is a slightly smaller one, again, at 20%, but no buff, then the boss doesn't do anything. Then Lydia goes, and the boss only rips off Lydia's 2 buffs per champion on my team, and then later when Arbiter does the turn meter boost before Seer nukes, we get that increased attack up, and that's an extra buff for Seer. So me and my brother figured that out late one night, way too late actually. We had several failed attempts, I think from the fact that it was so late that our brains were starting to shut down and turn into overcooked barbecue or something like that. I don't even know what that means, but anyway, that's the deal with her. So she leads with this. I turned off Enforced Humility just because I didn't know for sure if there was a chance that anybody could survive Seer's nuke at one point, and we just don't need this skill. What we want is to set up Seer's nuke, and then we want everybody to die quickly and let Mithrala solo the boss. The only other thing I believe, so this is just to make sure that he does this skill because we need him to freeze all the ads, so when the boss does her ally attack, they're all frozen and they can't help, which is huge because Cupidus is one of the ads on this team, and he has like 45% crit rate, and Cupidus hits like a truck. Now, Yakarl will try to do Blizzard Rider almost always first. I'm not sure why, because I don't really think that that makes a lot of sense, but if you played Raid for any amount of time, you know that the AI is not so particularly bright, actually most of the time. Actually, I can't think of very many champions who have good AI choices when it comes to which skill to use at the beginning of a round or a battle. So Yakarl is no exception. Love Yakarl, by the way, though. Very underrated champion. Super good for this dungeon. And the reason he's good is this skill right here. 75% chance of placing freeze for a turn. It increases to 100 if the targets have 75% or more turn meters. So right before their turn, if he freezes them, it's 100% chance to freeze. And then look right here. This debuff cannot be resisted by targets with 75% or more. So he has a 75% chance to freeze all the time. But then that's going to be based on his accuracy. If they have 75% or more, he gets 2 mechanics. It increases his chance to freeze to 100%, guaranteed freeze, and he's a void champion, so he can't weak hit. And the debuff cannot be resisted, so I don't have him built in any accuracy, because the only time I really care about freezing people is whenever he's going at just the right time in PvP, or in this case, in this event dungeon, and he can freeze everybody, and it's a free freeze because they're at 75% or more turn meter, so they can't resist it. Perfect. Awesome. And the biggest thing about this is that there are other champions like Gurgo or Ninja, or even old legacy champions like Shiramani, that have a guaranteed freeze, but they have affinity, so they could weak hit. And even if it's a guaranteed freeze, 100%, but still having the accuracy resistance check always has a 3% chance to fail. Cannot be resisted means that there's no chance to fail. Unless they have block debuffs or they have a mechanic in their kit that specifically says they cannot be frozen, unresistible debuffs just land. No chance to fail. Lydia is here for Lydia things, mostly this decreased defense and weaken. She's good, better than other decreased defense and weaken champions because she does go ahead and proc the boss's turn to rip these buffs off. Other champions will not do that, and then when you give seer buffs later, then the boss is going to take them and she won't have enough buffs to do a big nuke. So it's actually really good to have Lydia go second. So basically, real quick, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here. Sorry about that. Yakarl goes first. Yakarl is at 307 speed. Then Lydia goes, because once they're frozen, she can put out the decreased defense and weaken without Cupidus counterattacking. Because if you didn't know, and I'm just trying to make sure I give the relevant information here, the ads at, I think, 25 and up, but definitely on 28 and definitely on 30, include Cupidus and Venus, and they're a duo where if they're on the same team, anytime Cupidus is hit, he does an AoE A1, and he's pretty strong. And like I said, they gave him a higher chance to crit than the average ad has. Usually it's 15% chance to crit. Nah, Cupidus has 45, so it's almost half chance to crit, and he hits hard. So if they're not frozen and Lydia puts out the decreased defense and weaken, I'm doing the motion because that's kind of what her debuff skill animation looks like. If she hits them with that, Cupidus is going to whack our whole team, and he might even kill like your Carl or Seer or whatever in one hit if he gets a crit. If they're frozen first, then Lydia's debuffs goes out. Nothing happens. Crickets from Cupidus. Then Mithrala is going to go, and she's going to cleanse the fear, because when Lydia went, she procced a boss's turn that does fear. After the fears are on my champions, Mithrala, who has enough resist to resist the true fear, is going to cleanse the rest of the champions so they don't risk missing their turns. Then Arbiter is going to turn meter boost and put increase attack up. Mithrala's cleanse puts 2 buffs up, so now we have 3 buffs on everybody. And then I believe the next champion to go is Seer, and she's going to nuke. I'll show you how it works. So we got Yakarl going first. I'm sorry, Arbiter going first for the turn meter boost. Guaranteed freeze. No counter attacks because they're frozen. There's the true fears. We don't want those true fears there. So Mithrala is going to cleanse, and as you can see, there's buffs out on people. I believe Arbiter goes next, and turn meter boost again. Then Seer nuke. The ads are gone. Now we just want everybody to die, but obviously Mithrala. Mithrala is in regen set, and I believe perception, so she's not even in 2 healing sets, just 1. She's in a pretty good build for defensive stats, decent defense and HP. And then the regeneration causes her to heal every turn. I'm sure most of you know that. And what's going to happen now is from this point on in the skill presets, Mithrala's skills are all turned off except for her A1, which does 2 hits at random, which will become a 2-hitter on a single target like this boss is now. And it does poisons on both hits. So she's just going to doink, 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 poison the boss. And the boss is not going to be able to kill her because the boss doesn't hit her hard enough, and she's healing every turn. So she's just going to poison the boss to death. It's really that simple. And I think this is pretty damn close as far as raid goes to a 100% team. I don't really know what the chance could be for it to fail. It's got people at the right speed so they don't, accidentally proc a mastery or something and boost turn meter in front of the wrong champion and go out of turn, all that stuff. So other than any times that I might have accidentally not had my Seer in her full build because she actually freaking shares a savage piece or 2 with other nukers because my savage is just really woefully bad on the account. Other than that, I believe it's basically 100%. If Seer has all her freaking gear, as she should, then I think it's a guaranteed win on this stage for me. There you have it. As you can see, Mithrala was never remotely close to being in threat. It went how it was supposed to go. The other teammates died off. I think I might have Arbiter's Revive turned off just in case she survives for a while and then picks everyone back up. All that's going to do is slow down the run. I don't think it makes there be any more chance for it to fail, but it can slow the run down. So you just kind of want to let Arbiter not revive anybody and let everybody die once Seer nukes down the ads. Real quick, I will make a note that if you want to run this kind of team, the strategy of this team will work on stage 30. I settled for 28 because I did not want to go in and re-gear everyone extensively and start breaking other builds on the account. I did have to make some adjustments just to make this work, but basically what you would need is you would probably need a stronger Seer. Maybe if you have a 6-star blessing, that would definitely help. And you're going to need maybe all the champions to be faster. My Arbiter is plenty fast because she's the fastest on my account, but you would need to make, I believe, your Carl significantly faster, maybe Mithrala a bit faster. I don't think she would need to be wildly faster, and Lydia would have to be quite a bit faster, and Seer, I believe, would have to be quite a bit faster just to make sure that the other champions aren't going first, and also to make sure that your Carl's freeze doesn't come off too early, and then when the boss does the ally attack, Cupidus is awake and unfrozen and knocks your team on their ass. So yeah, let's look at the builds real quick. So we'll start with Mithrala. Mithrala's build is, as I said, in regeneration and perception. No special accessories. She actually has these 2 reaction accessories because I do use her a fair amount in PvP, and actually when I built her, I used her even more in PvP than I do now. Here's her total stats: 60,600 approximately HP, almost 3,700 defense, 258 speed, 28% crit rate because I don't have her built for any damage. Crit rate and crit damage do not matter. A little bit of resist. I don't think I built for this. I think it just kind of happened. She has pretty good base stats. And then 535 accuracy, which, by the way, plus her aura, which is 80, puts you at like 615, plus converting her accuracy into resistance gives you like, I don't know, like almost 900 resist. So you got a lot of resist. Then if we go to your Carl is just in a build that helps him go pretty fast. I did put him in the damage mode in the Hell Hades gear optimizer, so he does have 100% crit rate, a little bit of attack, not much, but these are his stats because all I care about him doing is going fast enough to put that freeze out. That's literally it. And to be quite frank, he's good doing that in PvP as well. None of these builds are like specifically for a speed tune for this dungeon. These builds are pretty decent for like the late game, basically anywhere in the game. All these champions are champions I use every day. Lydia is in a shield set to give an extra buff. At the beginning of like my Doom Tower runs, it doesn't really do anything in this one because actually it does leave a shield set on Mithrala because Mithrala resists the boss, but the boss grabs all the buffs off whenever Lydia does the decreased defense and weaken and buffs the team with strength and increased speed. So at that point, 4 of the 5 champions lose this shield set buff because the boss does a buff strip. But that's the set that she's in because I use Lydia all the time, and this is what she uses for my Doom Tower Seer runs. She does not need to be in a shield set. Then her total stats are a little bit of survivability, not too much defense, decent amount of HP, 272 speed, and then 429 accuracy, again, plus the 80 accuracy aura from Mithrala makes her plenty good for that dungeon. If you don't know how much you need for the stage you're working on, definitely go to hellhades.com, plug in another YouTuber right now. His free tools are fantastic for this game. Go to hellhades.com, click Raid Shadow Legends, and go to the Stages tool. I believe it's called the Stages tool. Select the event dungeon, select the difficulty is only normal, and select the stage that you're doing, and you'll be able to see how much accuracy you need to land debuffs on whichever of the ads or the boss has the most resistance, and you'll know how much resistance you need to have like a 95% chance of resisting debuffs from the boss and from the ads. Just so y'all know in case you didn't. Then if I go to Arbiter, Arbiter's my fastest champion. She's at 380 speed. Her build is only based on having all my fastest pieces of gear, but she does have about 2,700 defense, about 42,000 HP. She has no accuracy or resist to speak of because she's just built for speed. And then Seer is in Savage, and then what is this, Zeal, I think, to grab a little bit of extra crit damage. Actually has a mechanic where if she has her full HP, she does extra damage, so that's good for her. But you could also do, like, I don't know, any damage set basically. You might could do Slayer here. You could definitely do Cruel. I don't remember what other 2-piece damage that might work. But then I don't have enough gear after my break from the game to have kind of the set accessories. I'm still mostly on standard accessories or the accessory sets like Reaction and Blood Shield that were out when I left the game. I'm trying to get back in the swing of that, loot some of those. But anyway, say all that to say she's in a Savage build. That's important because it's going to ignore a lot of defense. If you don't have yours in Savage, she's going to have way more crit damage. The main thing she needs is buffs and crit damage. As far as her enemy max HP, AoE nuke, you don't really need any other stats other than 100% crit rate and crit damage. Her attack, even though she's got some attack multiplier in her kit, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But anyway, going back to the total stats, her survivability is not super important except for where you might use her somewhere else. In this specific comp, we just need her to survive one hit from the boss, I think, nuke down the ads, and then she can die. But mine, since we're here, is 55,006 or 7, almost 700, so almost 55.7 HP, 2,500-ish defense. Kind of slow, 197 speed, a little bit over 100% crit rate just because that's how the cookie crumbled. And then 330% crit is decent. They're probably the god tier ones are like 360. Maybe there's some, I'm sure, with the sets and whatnot, you know, higher than that. But mine's okay. That's a pretty decent one. But like I said, you might have to go 350 plus in Savage to actually get it done in one nuke on stage 30. That was the problem I was having. But you would also need a good bit more speed than 197. Resistance and accuracy don't matter. So there are the builds. That's the team. These are champions that I use in my everyday, and I just basically made Yukarl have more speed and took away some of his damage to make the team work. And I made sure that Yukarl went first, Lydia went second, and Mithrala speed was right to cleanse at the right time. Arbiter I didn't change. Seer I did actually add more crit damage even for stage 28, and I did add some more speed. I think she was a little bit lower than that, like maybe just like 1 or 2 speed. I don't know. I think she was over 190, but I tried to add a little bit more speed just to make sure that she got a turn and didn't have to worry about ads attacking and potentially killing her and then making the whole thing wipe. So anyway, that's what we're doing, guys. I'd love to know your thoughts about the team. I think that there's a fair chance that a lot of people have this team because even though they're not particularly simple or easy to get, everyone can get Mithrala. Everyone can get your Carl with some time. I can't remember which shop he's in, if it was the clan shop or the tag team shop. I believe it's the clan shop. And if you don't have him, go redeem his fragments. He's a very good legendary. Lydia, everybody can get for doing faction wars. Seer, that one's going to be tough if you don't have Seer, but I mean, you saw that from the beginning of the video, so hopefully if you kept watching, you either did it for entertainment factor or you have a Seer, so you have a chance at building this team. There are other champions that could potentially do this. I don't know how you would get around the cleanse that Mithrala has, but basically anybody that's in a build that can solo and put poisons on the boss could do what she's doing. The problem is you would then have to come up with a new strategy for her cleanse, for the true fears, and the buffs that she puts up on the cleanse that Seer then utilizes. So you'd have to figure that out. Your Carl can be any freeze champion. The reason I use a Carl is A, obviously, because I have him, and B, because his debuff can't be resisted. So there's like not 3% chance for a 600 accuracy ninja to either weak hit or get resisted and have his freeze not land. I don't even know if he can weak hit because I don't know if there's any Timot's red affinity. So yeah, people like Ninja could have a problem freezing someone like Timot, who I believe is Force Affinity, because they could weak hit. Then someone like Gergo, who can't weak hit because he's Void, still with 1,000 accuracy, has a 3% chance to be resisted. So that's why you want to use your Carl if you have him. Lydia is because you want those buffs that she brings, and she's the only champion that I know of in the game that brings 2 buffs on the same skill that she does, the decreased defense and weaken. Arbiter can be any turn meter booster. You just, again, if you don't have somebody who also buffs like she does with her increased attack on her A3, then you're going to need to come up with another buff. So if you've been playing the game any amount of time, you probably have realized that there's some theory crafting that has to go in to substitute champions. It's not always super simple, but if you know the game well enough, you could definitely sub some champions here. I don't really know how you would sub Seer, but maybe you have like an absolutely just monstrously stacked, Trunda or somebody that can actually level the ads in one nuke, with decreased defense and weaken out there. But as long as you can come up with alternative strategies for things like the cleansing and having enough buffs for Seer to nuke, make the team you want. Just wanted to share this with you guys so that you could see what I'm doing for the dungeon, and maybe it's inspiration for you. Maybe you have these champions on your account, you can build a team. But anyway, guys, if you watched this far, please consider liking and subscribing to the video, guys. I genuinely would love to hear your thoughts about the team or about raid or whatever you want to offer in the comments below. I respond to all the comments, and I'm trying to see if I can get this channel in front of more people and see if we can get a little community going. So anybody who has supported, as always, thank you so much. Anybody who's interested in supporting, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and become a part of the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy raiding.